वी विल वेट फॉर अनदर मिनट क्योंकि और लोग भी पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, सो वी कैन स्टार्ट एट 4:05. All right, thank you everyone for taking out your time to attend this analyst call session of Treet Group. We are hosting both Treet Corporation and Treet Battery with us today. We are privileged to have Mr. Mansoor Murad, who is the CFO, Group CFO for the Treet Group, and Mr. Rizwan Kaisar, who is the CFO of the Treet Battery. Along with that, we have Mr. Faizan, Ms. Zunaira, and Mr. Osman with us. So before we move forward to the main topic of the call, I would like to remind you of your SOPs, that this session will last for 10 to 15 minutes first for the presentation from the both companies management, and then we'll open the floor for the Q&A. So before we start with the presentation, there is a short video on the Treat Racers and Treat Group. So I would like to play that first before handing over this mic to Mr. Mansoor.
Shaving used to be a ritual, one style, one goal, clean, uniform, no questions asked. But times have changed. Grooming has evolved. Today it's not just about shaving, it's about defining who you are. Your face is your canvas, and every line tells your story. Because shaving isn't about blending in, it's about standing out. Genesis, for every man's journey.
Okay, and another similar video for the Treat batteries as well. So I would also like to play that one before we move forward to the common section.
Of the hours that cost more, of what gets wasted, of the bills that bite. Do it for every sunrise you don't want slipping away. Do it for the power you hold. Do it for the off-peak, peak time, downtime, and do it for every time. Do it now. Because smart isn't coming tomorrow. It's already here. And it's waiting for you to plug in, switch on, step up. Take charge for your savings, for your comfort, for your home. Take charge with Lithion. Take charge.
All right, I'll now request Mansoor Saab to please proceed with the presentation. So I'm attaching the presentation first.
Great. So, Shankar, thank you so much for that. While we flash the presentation on your screens, I just want to take a minute to sort of thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. This is our first analyst briefing for 2026. Just a couple of quick ground rules. So, in terms of HSSE, we don't have any emergency drills planned here for our campus in Lahore today. So, if there is a fire alarm that goes off, we will treat it as a real emergency, and we will have to reschedule the call. For all our colleagues and friends who are joining us virtually, please follow the safety protocols in your respective location. In terms of the flow of the presentation, like Shankar said, we're gonna do about 10 to 15 minutes each on Treet core and Treet batteries. In terms of how we deliver the session, primarily the session will be delivered in English, but we will switch to Urdu at times during the session just to facilitate the communication. So without further ado, I will now take a couple of minutes to just take you through the history of the group. So Shankar, if you could move to the next slide. So the Treet group is pretty much as old as Pakistan when it comes to our footprint in the country. So the founder was Sayyid Maratib Ali. He was also the first governor of the State Bank of Pakistan when Pakistan was formed. And our current CEO is the fourth generation of the family to be running the group. On the next slide, you will see a brief timeline of the group's evolution. So we are in our 73rd year of operations right now. We started in 1952 with the Treet Blades and Razors factory in Hyderabad. That was our first blades and razors manufacturing plant. This was actually relocated from being in a different part of the Indian subcontinent before the formation of India and Pakistan, and then it was moved to Hyderabad. It was moved to Karachi port in 47 and then commissioned in 1952. And since then, the journey has been a very interesting and varied one. So we were the first company to start assembly of Ford motor vehicles in Asia. This is a facility that later, during the period of nationalization, was taken over by the government of Pakistan. In the early 2000s, we decided to diversify the operations of the group and go beyond just the personal care segment. We introduced a corrugated packaging company under the first Treet manufacturing Mudarba. In 2018 is when we kicked off our battery plant, which you will hear a lot more of in the coming few minutes. In addition to batteries and the corrugated packaging business, we also have a pharmaceutical company called Renicon Pharma, which was acquired in 2017, which is the largest provider of hemodialysis concentrates and solutions. So now, fast forward to 2026. The reason we've decided to kick off today's session with the two videos is because 2026 is a year where we feel that both Treet Corporation Limited and Treet Batteries Limited are going to be breaking some very exciting new ground. For Treet Corporation Limited, it's our first large-scale and organized entry into the system razor segment, which traditionally in Pakistan has been dominated by a single company, and we look forward to making our mark there. And for Treet Batteries Limited, 2026 is going to be the start of our journey in the lithium-ion segment, which we feel is where the future of domestic energy storage lies. However, the group is not all about just the business. There is also a huge element of giving back to our communities. That's a part of who we are. And honestly, this is not something which is performative, but it's part of the DNA of the founding family and the principals and major shareholders of the company as a whole. So we are very proud to be one of the companies in Pakistan where we truly fulfill our 100% quota of employing people with physical or intellectual disabilities as part of our team here, with just as much respect and equality as anybody who does not face those same challenges. Our facility here in the heart of Lahore is also one of the few surviving green lungs in this part of Lahore. So that's also something that we're very proud of. Another thing that I'm personally very proud of is the fact that there are more than 300 female colleagues who work with us in this factory, and most of them are frontline, production line colleagues, being provided a safe and respectful way of contributing to their households. Beyond this, also we also are very aware of our responsibilities towards both our frontline communities as well as society as a whole. In terms of our focus, obviously I've touched on female empowerment, which is a big area of focus for us. But in addition to this, the two other areas where we focus very heavily on is education, and this is both at school level as well as university level, where one of our key partnerships is with the University of Oxford in the UK, and also in the healthcare space, where we are both very closely related to the Liaquat National Hospital in Karachi, as well as the Ghulam Devi Hospital in Lahore. Now, moving to the financial performance of the of Treet Corporation. But before that, I just want to take a minute just to reiterate the launch of Genesis and Estella. So we've shown you a glimpse of the ad, which is for Genesis. It's a standalone brand for male customers. We also are simultaneously launching a standalone brand for female customers called Estella. The marketing launch for these brands is in April. So in a few days from now, you will be able to see the media. Product is already in stores as we speak. We are available in between 150 to 200 stores nationwide right now. Focus is first, obviously, on the larger metros, and then we will move to the second tier metro city. Right. So financial performance of the company. So our fiscal year is July to June. So fiscal year 24-25 was a very good year for us. There was strong profitability across all metrics last year. This year, we're very happy to share that we've carried that momentum forward. So if you look at all the metrics across the board, we are showing greens. Our revenue is up. This is primarily driven by conscious effort on focusing on higher value, higher margin product, which is why you will see that our gross profit margin is significantly higher than it was, than our revenue has gone up. So our gross profit margin is up nearly 30% year on year, half year 25 to half year 26. And again, I would like to remind team on the call that half year 25 itself was a very strong year for us. Operating profit is up significantly. Again, it's up more than 30%. And our net profit after tax here, I am showing numbers with excluding the impact of super tax, because super tax we had to take a hit in the current year for previous 2 years, is also up nearly 20%. In addition to this, we are continuing to right-size our portfolio in order to aggressively deleverage the company. Aggressive deleveraging of the company and the group has been a key area of focus for us for the last couple of years. So happy to share the fruits of that. So we've executed portfolio actions of nearly ₹500 million in the first half of this year, and our finance cost is reduced by more than 50%. Obviously, there is a rate impact to this as well, but the fact that we've successfully deleveraged and executed these portfolio activities does also. So moving on to the next slide. So this is showing you a trend of both our local and export sales. So you can see that our local sales trend has been solid year on year for the last 5 years, whereas our export sales has had a bit of a mixed trend. Now, the reason for the exports having a mixed trend is twofold. One, in the export space, we are competing with products which are significantly below us in quality, and as a result, they are significantly below us in price. Which means that for less developed countries with very highly price sensitive markets, there has been a challenge on our profitability. So what we've done both in 2025 and now going forward in 2026 is we very ruthlessly focused on only selling in profitable markets and only selling to profit. Then as a result, we have consciously let go of selling. The idea is in the volume versus margins trade-off, our skew on exports is more towards margin. So we are focusing on profitable business rather than growing the top line, which is not contributing significantly to the bottom. On the local side, obviously, our situations is very different because we are the only domestic producer of razor blades in Pakistan. There's one other company which does assembly of razor blades in Pakistan, but we are the only ones which have the end-to-end manufacturing process, which is why our market share of the organized market, and when I say organized market, it's ourselves and one other company which is still listed but is going to be delisted soon. We are about 82% of that market. Any other sales that happen are through gray channels and exports, and reliable data is not available. So how does this sales performance translate to our bottom line delivery? So you can see in the chart at the bottom of your screen that our gross profit and operating profit have both shown steady growth trend over the last 2 years. So 23-24, our operating profit was at a low point, and both in 24-25 and for the first half of this year, though they have shown constant and strong growth. And in the chart above, you can see where this is being driven from. So our absolute sales quantity, number of units is falling, but we are making more money. And the reason for that is that there has been, over the last 2.5 years, a conscious shift towards more value-driven products rather than pushing volume and low-margin products. And that trade-off to going more value-driven products is not only impacting our margins, but here you can also see it is also impacting our borrowings and finance costs in a positive manner. So from a peak of about 9 and a bit million of total borrowings a couple of years ago, we are now significantly down. We reduced our borrowings by about 15% at a group level, and we are at about 6-ish billion for Treet Corp on a standalone basis. One more slide, a couple of slides more from me. So this one is showing you a snapshot of our profitability. I would like to draw your attention to the second set of bars from the right on the chart above, which is where we're showing our net profit after tax, excluding the impact of super tax, and you can see that it is 125 million better than the same period last year. But the metric that we track very strongly within the company is the one which is in the center of this series of bar charts, which is our core profit. So by core profit, what I mean is the profit of the business after excluding any one-off positive or negative impacts and after excluding any portfolio action. So this is the core performance of the intrinsic business. And here you can see that in the first 6 months of this year, we've nearly doubled the performance from the previous year. And this is what gives us a lot of confidence that as Genesis and Estella join our portfolio, we will be able to build on this strong trajectory and grow our bottom line performance even further. This is also being supported by the chart at the bottom, where you will see that our gross profit margin, which was 29% 2 years ago, is now 39%. And this is a shift which is driven both by pricing interventions in certain key markets and in certain key SKUs, but also significant, ruthless, and absolutely uncompromising focus on driving value rather than chasing volumes for the sheer sake of it. Last slide is just few key ratios. Now we understand, with all the uncertainty that's happening in the Middle East right now, there's a lot of questions around how will businesses be able to ride out these headwinds. So the good news for us is that all of our liquidity ratios have shown an improvement over June 2025 base. So generally speaking, the business is positioned quite well to ride out any headwinds. I'm also anticipating a question here in terms of what our supply chain position looks like. So our steel comes from two sources. One is in Japan and one is in Europe. So in terms of supplies of steel, we are well placed to ride out any disruptions in terms of shipping lanes. Our plastics, obviously, it's a petrochemical product, so it is under some stress right now due to this uncertainty around the Straits of Hormuz. But we normally carry sufficient inventories that it should not be a problem in the that's it on the Treet Corporation side of the things. I will now hand over to Rizwan, who will take you briefly through Treet batteries, and then we will come back to take questions.
Thank you, Sue. So for Treet battery, this has been a very exciting journey. So last year was the first profitable year that this company has seen. So we try to continue that trajectory. So this will be the first profitable half year that we have presented to the market. So if you look at our revenue side, clearly see that the revenue has dropped by around 700 million. But that primarily is that we were really the same thing that Masood earlier mentioned, that we were pursuing margin over volumes. So we had to cut down certain SKUs that were not profitable. And then we also made sure that we consolidate our position in those profitable segments. So that is why you clearly see the profitability. Our quarter two has more than 30% gross profit as compared to quarter one. That is also linked to the increase or strategic procurement of lead from alternate sources and the development of new sources that were necessary in order for to continue the turnaround journey that we started. This is a profitable, the low graph clearly shows profitable half year. Next slide. So if you look at the margins, gross margin, you see that our gross margin has improved from 20% to 22%. If you look at the quarter's gross margin, they are more than 30%. So that really shows that this is actually one of the highest gross margin battery company listed in Pakistan. As compared to our competitors, our profit margins are far higher. That also shows the premium segment that Devo battery is able to target and Treet is able to capture that value in its profitability. We clearly see that the profit margin has also turned positive, but we expect that as we move into the year, we expect these numbers to turn out further and phenomenal returns. Thanks.
Well, your voice is breaking up. लोग chat पे mention कर रहे हैं, so I think.
Rizwan, you want to spoke, sir? Thank you for that feedback.
Okay. So this shows a clear volume position for the company. So the company has not only gotten a positive impact from the reduction in interest rate cost because of the TIBOR reduction, but the company has also taken advantage of debt to equity conversion that happened this year that has reduced the company's borrowing. That has also given us space in order to operate and expand our volumes going forward. This is the strategy that we are pursuing. In addition, we are also expecting that with this lithium batteries coming into portfolio, we are also expecting that we might need a little bit of additional working capital. So we are creating that space which is necessary for growth and expansion. Next slide. If you look at the current ratio, that conversion also led to improvement of our current ratio from 0.3 to 0.45. That is a clearly positive sign. Our interest coverage ratio, considering our numbers have turned positive, so that has also improved from 0.94 to 1.52. As we go into the year, we also plan to further restructure our balance sheet in order to improve our current ratio. We expect certain portion of the debt to convert to long term, so that will also further improve the current ratio and the liquidity of the company. So this is our expectation as we go forward. Next slide. So this is just a comparison of the industry that we are operating in. So I haven't mentioned the name of the company. Obviously, there are two other battery manufacturers that are listed in Pakistan. So if you look at the trade debt numbers, so we clearly, I would say, are the market leader or the benchmark for the industry to follow. We have actually one of the lowest trade debts in the market, 454 million last year, and we have only increased to 634, and this number has again gone back to the same numbers, close to 500 million. So essentially speaking, we have tried to make sure that we maintain margin, and we ensure our cash conversion cycle. So this is something that is necessary considering the debt that we also carry. If you look at our competitors, you clearly see the desperation, and with the margins dropping, the trade debts also increasing. This is something very alarming. This is where we feel there is opportunity that we can capture the competitors' market share. So if you look at company A, they have increased trade debt from 4.8 million to 5.5 million. If you look at company B, they have increased trade debts from 2.6 million to 3.5 million. If you look at the cash conversion cycle, you clearly see a stark difference that the battery industry, other battery manufacturers are operating in a completely different area as compared to us. We have a cash conversion cycle of 20 days, 28 days, and this is also because that we have moved to imported lead. If you look at other two companies, they have a cash conversion cycle of more than 100 days. So one also having 260 days. That clearly shows that we have done exceptionally well over here too. Next slide. So this graph also shows the promising future that Treet Battery holds. If you look at our competitors, they are not able to maintain margins. They have desperately pumped funds into the market to make sure that they survive this onslaught that is coming in. They are trying to fend off the shrinkage in a backup segment. So obviously, if you look at our trajectory, you clearly see that our margin has improved from 20% to 22%, while our competitors who had a margin 2 years ago of around 18% have dropped to 16%. So that clearly shows an opposite movement of margins, and that is also obviously reflected in the operating margins. And we expect to continue this journey. As I already told, in quarter 2, we had a gross profit margin of more than 30%. That clearly shows that we are actually the market leader in terms of margin. The only problem that we face at the moment is the volumes. We expect that once we have profitable market segment developed, we will again come for the volumes, and that is where we expect these market to lose, our competitors to lose market share. Next slide. So this is something new. We have been informing the market for quite some time that our backup segment has been struggling. So the backup segment obviously is linked to seasonality, and again that is also linked to the unavailability of the grid. So considering the grid availability over the years has improved, so obviously we expect the backup segment to struggle going forward. But again, in order to mitigate that, we have moved into a segment which we see is in a growing phase. So our backup segment is also expected to see phenomenal growth after launch of our brand Lithium Neo Power. We are bringing in 4 SKUs in this segment, and we are expecting and we are bringing in top-notch technology. One of the element or the strategic advantage that we have over our competitors is the warranty and the quality that we promise to our customers. So this is something that gives us a competitive, because most of this market is being dealt by traders who do not have a long-term presence, and most of the solar companies in Pakistan have a life of around 5 to 7 years. So considering Treet's history and the long-standing relationships in the market, we expect to be here for foreseeable future. So we expect this brand to be established in a very short period of time. So this is going to bring in additional revenue in the second half. The battery is already on high seas. We are expecting that battery to land in Pakistan very soon. Once it lands in Pakistan, we obviously will be selling that. We are also moving into inverter segment, so we will try to be a one-window solution for our customers with inverters and batteries.
Okay, sorry, just to add here, in terms of lithium ion, एक चीज जो कि जरूरी है लोगों को समझने के लिए, इसके ट्रेडिशनली लोग यूपीएस की बैटरी इस्तेमाल किया करते थे यूपीएस के लिए. The way that the prices have moved of lithium ion batteries and lead acid batteries, अगर आपके घर में 70-80 हजार वाली पुराने टेक्नोलॉजी की यूपीएस की बैटरी लगी हुई थी, तो टुडे a lithium ion battery which give you double the amount of backup for the same size of battery and a warranty of anywhere from 3 to 10 years depending आप किसकी बैटरी खरीदते हैं, is more or less the same. तो हमारी रीड ये है कि जो लेड एसिड बैटरीज फॉर लार्जर हाउसेस यूपीएस सोल्यूशन will be largely replaced by lithium ion. छोटे solutions के लिए या जैसे छोटे गांव छोटे शहरों में गांव में देखा जाता है कि एक सोलर पैनल के साथ एक बैटरी लगाइए, वहां पे lead acid batteries की जगह रहेगी for in the backup state, but for larger homes, for larger installations, it's gonna get replaced by lithium ion batteries. Plus, obviously, we all know the net metering situation for Pakistan in general is such that households are now very strongly considering moving from a net metering based solution to a hybrid solution जहाँ पे वो जो बिजली extra बना रहे हैं वो खुद अपने पास ही store कर दें. So in both of these things, we feel that there's a huge upside in the lithium ion space. Our plan for the lithium ion batteries hinges around two things. One, Treet is a name that's been around for 73 years. हमारा 74th year माशाल्लाह से चल रहा है. तो लोगों को ट्रस्ट होगा कि अगर खुदा ना खास्ता 4 साल 5 साल 7 साल बाद कोई प्रॉब्लम आता है हमारी बैटरी में तो ये कंपनी मौजूद हो, हम कोई होगा जो कि हमारी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर सके. Secondly, there is a lot of trust related issues when it comes to lithium ion batteries because these are being brought in by sort of informal players. So we are confident that at least when we tell you that the battery is of a certain quality, customer will have confidence that yes, ये जो कह रहे हैं इसी quality की है. So this is something we are very excited about, and we are very hopeful that this is going to be a big driver of growth for us in the future because we will be the first of the established battery companies to get into this space. So that's it from us. Thank you so much for your patience and listening. Shankar, over to you for the Q&A.
All right. Thank you, Mansoor sir, for such added clarity over the batteries. So the floor is open for the Q&A. If you guys have any question, you can raise your hand or you can put your question in the chat box. Both options are available. Once again, if anyone feels that voice is not clear, maybe you can put your observation in the chat box. Management will ensure that your voice is clear. Okay, so sir, I'll start with the question that I received in advance. So the first question is, can you just mention what is the overall market size for the razors, blades, and the shaving foam, and how is the split between the organized and unorganized sector?
We don't have data on the unorganized sector. We can give you our best estimates.
Yes.
So our best estimate is that about in the system razor segment, 40 to 50% of the product is coming through gray channel. So what that means is about 1.5 to 2 billion rupees worth of product in the system razor segment is at risk of coming from gray channels. Obviously, our average monthly revenue is 1.4 billion, तो वो फिर आप मैच कर सकते हैं हमारा मार्केट शेयर क्या बनता है. दूसरा जो एरिया है जहाँ पे स्मगलिंग होती है, दैट इज रेजर ब्लेड्स फॉर द बार्बर सेल, और वहाँ पे आर नेबर टू द ईस्ट प्रोडक्ट कम्स इन प्राइमरीली फ्रॉम देयर, और वो आता है थ्रू दी अफगान साइड ऑफ थिंग्स. तो वो पहले यहाँ से उधर उड़ के जाता है फिर वहां से आता है. उसके लिए इट्स वेरी हार्ड टू प्रोजेक्ट बिकॉज it's a function of how strict the controls are at the border. So when the controls are very strict at the border, there's not a lot of product flowing through. When the controls are a bit more relaxed at the border, then sometimes yes, significant product does flow through. But हमारे लिए frankly जो ज़्यादा troublesome area है वो है हमारा one of our razors is called a hygiene razor. It is designed for the personal hygiene needs of male customers. उसकी counterfeit काफी बनती है. And हर महीने we have to work with various regulatory authorities to crack down on these small cottage industry factories which are making counterfeit of that product. Why is this critical for us? Because it is a hygiene product, right? अब हमारी फैक्ट्री में तो जब बनता है तो we are very confident that it is being made to certain standards of hygiene and it's not going to cause any negative impact on our customer. But if somebody has a cottage industry factory somewhere with not really great safety and hygiene practices, it can be harmful for our customers. So that's an area where we are a lot more concerned because it has potential negative impact for our customers. और उधर हम बहुत aggressively काम करते हैं to crack down on any counterfeiting of our product.
Okay, perfect. So, question that I have received on the chat box is that you mentioned that your exports renewal strategy is on track with results broadly in line with the targets. Can you give us more color on what those targets are? Which specific markets are you prioritizing, and what is the expected contribution from the exports in the second half of this fiscal year? Also, how will the hygiene razor capacity expansion support this export push? So
Okay,
two
so
parts of the question, your exports target and the
great.
target for the second half.
Deepak. So it's a three-part question. So I'll try and tackle it one by one. So 2025-26 was for us a reset year for exports. We've done two major interventions in exports in Q4 of the last year. One was we took significant price increases in certain markets and in certain SKUs because we felt that our product profitability was being negatively impacted. And as a result, we also let go of certain business which we felt was not very profitable for us. The second thing we did was we changed our route to market in certain geographies. The first of those geographies is Africa. Africa is a very large continent, and it is a continent where there is a big opportunity for a company such as Treet. Because again, it's very important for us to acknowledge that Treet Corporation is a name that is a value leader. We have always been a value leader. And that is also why we brought in Genesis not under the Treat name, but under its own independent name. So because we don't want to confuse the market, whether we are a value leader or whether we are a premium leader. But coming back to the value side, so obviously you understand Africa is not a monolith. There are many different countries, there are many different economies, there are many different markets. But अफ्रीका में ज्यादातर जो ममालिक हैं वो उनको अगर आप at its customer behavior core देखें, they are similar to Pakistan. There are some pockets of high level of urbanization, but there are pockets of low level of urbanization, a lot of semi-rural and rural markets. There are a lot of opportunities there for a value player to go in and make its place. So that's an area where we are now very actively reconfiguring our entire approach to the market, and we are now working more directly with end customers in Africa rather than through distributors which are based in the Middle East who are serving the Africa. One of our priority markets is obviously to regain share in Africa. Our other priority markets are generally developing country markets where people's hygiene behaviors are similar to that which we find in Pakistan. So that is in Africa, that is in South Asia, that is in the Middle East, that is in East Asia, and also in certain parts of Central Asia. ये सारे हम ऐसा नहीं है कि इनमें से किसी एक को हमने neglect किया है. These are all markets where we are either already present and we want to deepen our presence, or where we are looking to create a strong foothold. So this year, right now, our exports is on target, on track to beat its 25-26 internal target by more than 20%. We're quite hopeful that it will do that, and it will also significantly beat, inshallah, the profitability contribution target to the group that we had set at the start of the year. Yes, the hygiene razor is going to be a big piece of this puzzle. For those of you who were in the analyst briefing, the investor call we did in October, I also mentioned that currently our hygiene razor capacity is barely sufficient to meet our local demand. So we are not able to relatively promise customers outside Pakistan availability of our hygiene razor. हमारी जो hygiene razor की capacity enhancement है, one of the major plays of that will be not only to fulfill the demand in the local market, which the capacity constraint is stopping us from fulfilling, but also, yes, we see significant upside in exports market, and the hygiene razor is one of our most profitable SKUs. So we are very excited to see the opportunities outside Pakistan. We already have firm queries from multiple of our existing export markets. So as soon as this capacity comes on stream, we're very hopeful that we will be able to drive good profitability.
Just a follow-up on this before we move towards the next question. So you mentioned that the Genesis brand will operate independently of the Treet. Treet is a value brand that you mentioned. So can you just mention what would be the price difference between the existing Treet brands and the Genesis brand that you are planning to launch?
So Shankar, in almost all of the segments that Genesis is being placed, Treet does not have an existing product.
Okay, so it's not complementing.
We're constantly positioning Genesis in those pockets of customer demand where Treet does not have a compelling proposition. And the reason for that is, see, we don't want the two brands to be fighting against each other. We want them to be fighting against the other brands in the market. Again, they can, while Genesis is a premium brand, we are also going to position it as a value for money brand, because that is who we are as Treet. We've always, as Treet Corporation, provided our customers with the best value for money. So it's what, if you're a male shaver, and you want a cartridge-based razor, बेसिकली एक ही ब्रांड है जिसकी प्रोडक्ट आप ले सकते हैं, और उस ब्रांड की प्राइसेस पिछले 3-4 सालों में बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गई। सो हम जो प्रोडक्ट ला रहे हैं, वी फील इट इज अ वेरी गुड प्रोडक्ट। ऑब्वियसली जो दूसरे ब्रांड्स हैं उनकी कुछ पेटेंट्स होती हैं, तो हम उनकी प्रोडक्ट को लाइक फॉर लाइक कॉपी नहीं कर सकते, बट इट्स अ वेरी गुड प्रोडक्ट विच विल गिव कस्टमर्स वेरी गुड एक्सपीरियंस। एंड द प्राइसेस वी आर पिचिंग एट इज 20 to 30% below the most expensive brand in the market. इस वक्त पाकिस्तान में एक ही ब्रांड डोमिनेट, ये कार्ट्रिज रेजर वाली। So even at 20 to 30% below, we are very confident कि एक तो customer trial generate होगा, दूसरा देखें since sort of October 2023 onwards, there's been a huge feeling in amongst Pakistani customers and in customers who outside Pakistan who think like Pakistani customers, that there are certain brands and there are certain multinational companies that they are not comfortable buying from anymore if they have another option, if they have a better option. So what we want to provide is an option which is a very good option at a really compelling price point for customers both in Pakistan and then few months from now also out.
Okay, अगर ये थोड़ा सा क्लेरिफाई कर दें कि द जेनेसिस ब्रांड का ओवरऑल वैल्यू आप क्या देख रहे हो down the road in next 12 to 24 months? What are your internal targets, if not exactly in a range, if you can mention कितना percentage जो है revenue में augment कर सकता है this new brand launch?
So when we look at our aspiration for the next 12 to 24 months, we look at Genesis and Estella together. The Genesis is the brand for male customers and Estella is the brand for female.
Exactly, for both, yeah.
So both of them put together, we are aiming for, in the first couple of years, anywhere between 15 to 25% of the share of the market. Personally, अगर आप मुझसे पूछो ना, I am very excited about the ladies brand because ये बहुत बड़ा गैप है हमारी मार्केट। हमारा जो ट्रीट का लेडीज शेविंग रेजर है, पिछले 12 महीने में we have spent almost zero on marketing, and almost 40% of all razor sales in the supermarkets जो कि ट्रीट के रेजर की होती हैं, are female brand. So we feel that the ladies hygiene segment is a neglected and underserved segment, and we are hoping for some very good results.
Should we expect the similar margins on the new brands, both Estella and the retail assets?
So obviously the new range is while it's a premium range, initially हमने introductory pricing जो है वो बहुत competitive. That said, the way pricing works up in any industry like ours is you make money on the repeat purchase. So obviously when you sell the handle, the margins on the handle are much lower and the margins on the cartridge are much higher. So mix and match it. There are certain products जो कि है हमारी star products होंगी. There are certain products जो कि conversion drivers होंगी, और certain products जो है वो premium price, not huge amounts of quantities but great margins होंगी. So it will be a mix. Because you see, we are in one shot we are launching nearly 30 SKUs. It's the biggest launch in our history as Treet. in a single shot and one of the largest single shot launches in recent years. So we're very excited about it. थोड़ा सा डर भी लग रहा है, but inshallah, things will work out well.
Inshallah. Okay, the next question is again on the gross margin. So is the 39% gross margin level is sustainable going forward, or should we expect some normalization in the coming quarters?
So, really, don't take my word for it. Look at our gross margins quarter on quarter. क्योंकि मैं तो आपको कुछ भी कह दूं, आप खुद असेस करें कि हमारी क्वार्टर ऑन क्वार्टर ग्रोस मार्जिन की डायरेक्शनलिटी क्या है, आपको जवाब मिल जाए. The reason why I'm speaking with such confidence on this is because हमने अपनी पोर्टफोलियो को रिकंसीडर किया है. So the double edge razor जो कि उस्तरे में लगता है और हजाम की दुकान में इस्तेमाल होता है, वो हमारी हेरिटेज है, वो कहीं नहीं जा रही. But obviously it's by definition a single use product in a very price competitive buyer category, right? Because a barber who uses 50 to 100 of those razors a day, उसके लिए एक रुपए का भी प्राइस डिफरेंस जो है वो काफी बड़ा हो जाता है पूरे में. वो प्रोडक्ट हमारी रहेगी, उधर हम डोमिनेट करते हैं. We aim to keep our dominating position. What we are doing is we are growing our razor segment to drive the bottom line profit. So again, I'll refer you back to the slide that we shared, which showed that our absolute volumes have actually fallen, but our revenues and our gross profit margins have gone up. So clearly there is some concentrated strategy and effort that is driving this. So we are very hopeful that this is a sustainable growth. But please look at our quarter on quarter growth margins and formula.
Good. So the next question we have, what are the sales growth targets for fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27? Q2 so far, how has been customer feedback? Second question is, how is the customer feedback regarding the Stella and Genesis segment?
I'm already about 20% higher than last year, and 2027 के frankly अगर मेरे budget finalize हो भी हो गए होते तो मैं बता नहीं सकता था आपको. But we're hopeful to continue the same trajectory in the future also. Genesis और Stella की जो हमको feedback आ रही है वो तो बहुत strong है. But देखिए proof of the pudding होता है कि customer खरीद रहा है या नहीं. Because हमसे हो सकता है हम जिनसे पूछ रहे हो वो हमारे दोस्तों वो हमको अच्छी बातें बता रहे हो. We have a very good problem right now in that in certain supermarkets, our Estrella range has sold out over the Eid weekend और अब हम scramble करते हैं replenish पे. So initial जो हमारी feedback है वो बहुत अच्छी है and things are progressing faster than what our initial estimation was.
Plan कर रहे हो, I think April आपने बताया था you'll be to do marketing for these both products and from April. What would be the estimated cost that you will be putting on in the marketing of these two brands, and what would be the tenor of that marketing campaign?
So Shankar, so the advertising landscape globally and for Pakistan has changed dramatically. So आज से 15 साल पहले मैं कंपनी में काम करता था, उधर हम प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर रहे थे तो उस जमाने में 500 मिलियन और 1000 मिलियन की एड कैंपेन होती थी. अब वो दिन खत्म हो चुके. So now it's all about bang for your buck. लेकिन most people who जो कि हमारे टारगेट कस्टमर्स होंगे ना इन प्रोडक्ट्स के, वो टेलीविजन और न्यूज़पेपर मीडिया अब या तो बहुत कम कंज्यूम करते हैं या करते ही नहीं. So this is a campaign which will be focused on where the eyeballs of our target market are more focused. So we will do some TV, we will do some press, of course we will. Those are still important media for us. But in terms of bang for your buck, आपको out of home में और digital में हमें बताया जाता है बेहतर response आता है. So our campaign will be focused mostly on the digital side and out of home. Initial हमारा एक बड़ा burst आएगा और उसके बाद our focus will be more on sustaining that. So now again, I will go back to Estella, which is our brand for the ladies. When it comes to female customers, अभी भी बहुत सारी myths हैं जिनको आपको burst करना है when it comes to using razors for performing personal hygiene for a female customer. So our second wave of the sustain of the marketing campaign for the especially for the female side of the spectrum will largely be focused on working with influencers who are credible and who can speak with some knowledge. Okay, if you use a razor to perform hygiene on your arms and legs, कुछ नहीं होता, बाल भारी नहीं आते, ये झूठ है. और प्लीज आप इस सिस्टम की गलत बातों पे भरोसा करना छोड़ दें. ये जो कैंपेन होगी ना, इसकी सस्टेनेबिलिटी लंबी होगी, बट हम जो मेथड्स कस्टमर को टच कर रहे होंगे वो तब्दील होते रहेंगे. So there will be some mall activities, there will be some school and college activities. Obviously, that is a very important demographic for us, schools and colleges, right? And then we might come on mass media for a little while, and then we go again because we don't want to spend on media without some kind of a coherent and very strong returns case for that. So मैंने आपके सवाल का जवाब दिए बगैर जवाब देने की कोशिश.
Perfect. So the next question is on the battery segment. So the TBL saw a decline of 16% in revenue during the first half, which you attributed to increased solar adoption. Can you help us understand the magnitude of these structural shifts, like how much of the decline is temporary versus a permanent? And with solar penetration increasing, how does this affect your traditional lead-acid battery business outlook for the next 2 to 3 years?
Acha, so basically, it's a good question. So, जो decline नजर आ रहा है, so historically होता, जो हम seasonality को अगर discuss करें तो historically backup segment में होता ये था कि हमेशा हमारी जो backup segment की sale होती वो अगस्त तक basically होती रहती थी. So it was never कि वो जून के फौरन बाद रुक जाती थी. तो अब जो weather change की वजह से transition आया उसको what happened was कि it was reduced. The sale was reduced during the first 2 months of the year. We were expecting कि हम इस period में कोई 30 to 40,000 battery बेच पाएंगे. We were not able to sell that. But again, this shift is something that we have to live with because जो grid availability है और फिर हम ये season कभी शुरू नहीं होता था. मैं अगर आपको बताऊं तो कभी अप्रैल मई से पहले नहीं शुरू होता था. So suddenly अगर आज की मैं बात करूं तो there is a huge demand and backlog that I have for orders for backup batteries. So we need to understand the kind of demand that we are seeing. So ऐसा नहीं है कि इसकी demand खत्म हो जाए. There still will be some demand because there are certain users जो कि already certain UPS लगा के बैठे हैं. They obviously want those batteries to be replenished on maybe after 2 years or 3 years. But again, जो मचूर ने point पहले raise किया, there is a shift that is happening towards lithium. That is true. But again, lithium की क्योंकि upfront cost higher side के ऊपर है, तो वो user जो छोटी बैटरी इस्तेमाल करता था, he will continue to use lead acid. It is just कि वो season में जहाँ पे grid availability limited होगी, we are expecting कि उसकी positive impact आएगा हमारी solar backup battery की sale के ऊपर. Another thing that is important is considering the situation, supply chain disruption that we are seeing. Fuel prices are going up. Grid पे load shedding already शुरू हो गई है. जो अभी मैं demand की बात कर रहा हूँ that we have seen हमने previously नहीं देखी. So this demand is something मेरा ख्याल है कि will be up to a certain extent will compensate the decline. In addition जो lithium की sale आएगी उससे भी basically compensate हो जाएगा. So this is the clear trajectory that we are taking. हम अभी भी market में backup में we do not have a very big share, but we are expecting कि हम अपना share continue करेंगे और हम अपने volumes को वापस लेके आएंगे. This is our expectation.
अच्छा, just to add, एक और चीज which is important for the analyst community to sort of form a view on it. देखिए हमारी कंपनी की जो performance की trajectory रही है in terms of gross profit margins, in terms of operating profit margins, it has been a little different from the other listed competitors. So think about what is it the difference. Now in our view the difference is one कि हमने आज से कोई 8-9-10 महीने पहले ये फैसला कर लिया था कि हम ऑटोमोटिव बैटरीज को ज्यादा प्रायोरिटाइज करेंगे और हम बैकअप बैटरीज को उतना ज्यादा प्रायोरिटाइज नहीं करेंगे. और हमने भी साल पहले ये फैसला कर लिया था कि हम जो है वो ट्यूबुलर बैटरी टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, बल्कि हम डायरेक्टली लिथियम आयन बैटरीज की टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर। बैकअप सेगमेंट इज नॉट a bad segment. It's not an unprofitable segment, but उसकी रेटेबिलिटी और रिलायबिलिटी जो है ना वो नहीं है। तो उसमें अगर आपको एक सिग्निफिकेंट प्लेयर बनना होता है तो यू हैव टू लिव विद द फैक्ट दैट समटाइम्स देयर विल बी ह्यूज स्विंग्स इन डिमांड व्हिच आर नॉट प्रेडिक्टेबल। If you are heavily reliant on those swings in demand, obviously that has a you have to pay a price for that in terms of your working capital that is different.
थोड़ा सा आप इसमें एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं कि विद इन द बैटरी सेगमेंट व्हाट परसेंटेज ऑफ योर रेवेन्यू इज फ्रॉम द बैकअप बैटरी सेगमेंट एंड व्हाट परसेंटेज इज फ्रॉम द ऑटोमोटिव the direct OEMs market and the replacement market separately. That's number one. Number two, I think this is quite a strong number. Despite decline in revenues, जो है, your gross margins are higher than the industry. I mean, much higher than the industry. So, what are the USPs through which you are maintaining significantly higher gross margins? And on top of that, your cash conversion cycle is also unmatched. So, with a lower working capital requirement, you are having higher gross margins. इसके पीछे भी अगर if you can explain what are the reasons?
पे हमारा ग्रॉस मार्जिन हाई, दिस इज अ मल्टी फॉर्म स्ट्रेटजी जो कि बिजनेस इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं। वन, देखिए वी हैव अ चॉइस, आइदर वी गो फॉर द वैल्यू सेगमेंट जिसमें वॉल्यूम्स होंगे, बड़े नंबर्स होंगे, मार्जिन्स नहीं होंगे। द सेकंड बिट इज आइदर वी गो फॉर प्रीमियम सेगमेंट। तो डेवो inherently has always stood by its quality. We have made sure कि हम quality conscious रहें, हम अपने consumer को we will never give an inferior quality battery to our consumer, and this is something that all other manufacturers I would say make a certain amount of compromise on. So this is number one. So on the premium segment में आते हैं, obviously our consumer is willing to pay 10 to 15% additional price on top of what our competitors are offering. So obviously when a consumer comes in the market expects कि आपको एक प्रीमियम प्रोडक्ट मिलेगा, तो वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग द सेम के प्राइस में एक थोड़ा सा हायर नंबर वो देके जाएगा। दैट इज वन। सेकेंडली, हमने मटेरियल के ऊपर भी स्ट्रगल्ड अ लॉट। हम लोकल प्रोक्योरमेंट पहले करते रहे, देयर वाज एन आर्बिट्राज अवेलेबल, इंटरनेशनल प्राइसेस जो लैंड की थी दे वर ऑन द लोअर साइड, so we immediately switched from local procurement to international procurement. That was something that clearly added significant gross profit margin to our numbers. In addition, हम अपनी fixed cost को we are amongst those companies जो कि सबसे ज़्यादा lean business model के ऊपर चल रहे हैं। We are trying to make sure कि हमारी fixed cost जो है that is amongst the lowest. हमारे volumes कम है, yet आप देखें तो हमारी ग्रॉस मार्जिन इंप्रूव्ड है। दैट क्लियरली शोज कि ना सिर्फ मटेरियल के ऊपर वी आर द मार्केट लीडर, मटेरियल कॉस्ट के ऊपर वी आर आल्सो मेकिंग श्योर कि हम अपने फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट को, फैक्ट्री प्लांट ओवरहेड्स को भी बेसिकली कंट्रोल करें। सो दिस इज द स्ट्रेटजी। अगर आप बिट्स में देखें तो प्राइसिंग, मटेरियल कॉस्ट एंड देन ऑब्वियसली फिक्स्ड ओवरहेड्स, वी आर मेकिंग श्योर कि हम इन तीनों को कंट्रोल करके चलें, मेक श्योर कि वी कैप्चर दैट। और वी थिंक एज द मार्केट गोज फॉरवर्ड और जो गाड़ी में बैटरीज का ऑटोमोबाइल सेक्टर के अंदर नई एडॉप्शन आ रही है, नई गाड़ियां आ रही है, वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग द मार्केट विल परफॉर्म। इंटरेस्ट रेट ड्रॉप के बाद वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग के व्हीकल्स की सेल बढ़ेगी। वी आर ऑल्सो, तो हम सारे OEMs के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि उससे बेसिकली एक पॉजिटिव और भी जंप आएगा। जो रेवेन्यू स्प्लिट की आप बात कर रहे हैं, सो आई वुड से 60-40, 60 in favor of maintenance need vehicle battery, because हमारी जो क्वालिटी है उसके ऊपर our consumer does not compromise on quality, and this is something that is our USP. So हमारे price point के ऊपर consumer is willing to pay that premium. So ये स्प्लिट है।
Okay, we have already crossed 2 minutes from 5 o'clock, so there are a couple of questions left on the chat. So I'll read them before we move towards the closing of the session. So on the lithium battery side, you have partnered with Highstar, and you mentioned that a competitor is already doing 5 billion per quarter in this segment. Can you provide the update on lithium battery launch timeline? I think you mentioned this in 2026. When will we start seeing revenue contribution from this initiative? And what is your market share target in the lithium segment over the next 2 to 3 years?
अच्छा, so basically before moving to targets, so मैं ये बताऊंगा कि our first shipment is expected to land in the next 15-20 days. So we are getting those batteries in Pakistan. As soon as they land in Pakistan, obviously we would not want that to be part of our inventory. We would immediately start. Initial interest from Degra, there's a very strong interest that is coming in from the market. We are expecting immediate liquidation शुरू हो जाएगी as soon as. So quarter 4 is something जहाँ पे lithium का आपको सेल नजर आनी शुरू हो जाएगी. But again, at this point in time, मेरे लिए important ये है कि मैं अपनी पूरी supply chain को straighten up करूँ. Because now I'm working with Highstar on development and everything. So हम बेसिकली पहले अपनी मार्केट को टेस्ट करेंगे. दैट इज व्हेन वी विल कम टू दैट स्टेज कि हम मार्केट शेयर टारगेट के ऊपर आएंगे. कंसिडरिंग के मार्केट के अंदर ऑलरेडी बहुत ज्यादा अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर्स हैं. वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि इट विल बी अ क्विकर ट्रांजिशन फ्रॉम अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर टू ऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर. सो वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि नेक्स्ट 2-3 years के अंदर you will see significant, if I do not put a number, there will be still significant revenue coming in from lithium segment. And once we understand that, then obviously we will also decide on do we want to assemble these batteries locally in Pakistan or not. So this is a decision that is still pending. We will see how the market responds to our offering, and then we will decide on these things.
Okay, and ये initially जैसे आपने कहा this will be the imported battery down the road. If the demand is good, if the response is good, you will probably move for the local manufacturing.
देखिए
ये आपका
हमारा
जी
प्लान ये हमारा प्लान we will test the market. If the market responds well to our offering, the quality, obviously product की, this is also a new product for us. While we have huge technical expertise on batteries, so we will obviously try to test those batteries in the market, and then once the response comes, then obviously we'll decide on what to do with the local assembly.
Perfect. One last question that we have on the chat. The first Treet Mudaba announced a dividend of PKR 1.5 per share. It was expected to be reflected in Treet's P&L for December 2025 quarter. Instead, a decline was observed in the other income. Could you please clarify the reason?
तो ताबिश आप जो है वो Q2 of the fiscal year 26 को कंपेयर कर रहे होंगे विद Q2 of the fiscal year 25. और इसकी वजह ये जो आपको डिक्लाइन नजर आ रहा है, इसकी वजह है कि नवंबर 2024 में ट्रीट कॉर्पोरेशन ने सिग्निफिकेंट अमाउंट ऑफ लिक्विडेशन की थी ऑफ इट्स शेयर होल्डिंग इन ट्रीट बैटरी लिमिटेड. तो आज से 2 साल पहले यू ओन समथिंग लाइक 97% ऑफ ट्रीट बैटरी लिमिटेड. आज वो नंबर हाई 80s में. Obviously, ये हमारी multi-year, multi-stage strategy थी to right-size our shareholding in batteries, and this is part of our overall portfolio rebalancing, जिसकी मैंने at the start of the call बात की थी. So, you know, the FTMM dividend was a one-off positive in this fiscal year. The revenue from the sale of some of the shares that we used to own in Treet batteries was the cause of a one-off positive other income of it in the previous fiscal year. जो crucial चीज है वो देखना है कि performance company की excluding one-off case. And like I mentioned earlier in the call, if you strip out all of the one-off impacts, are like-for-like profit on the same store basis, come YTD this year versus YTD previous year is almost double.
Okay, so there's a question on the Renacon as well. So I believe there was a decline in the revenues of the Renacon in this first half. Can you kindly explain the reason and the outlook on the products Renacon is offering?
So देखिए Renacon में हमारी पाकिस्तान में जो मार्केट शेयर है ना, इंटरनल एस्टिमेट इज दैट वी हैव between 60 and 70% मार्केट शेयर विद इन पाकिस्तान. तो Renacon की जो ग्रोथ अपॉर्चुनिटी वो ज्यादातर पाकिस्तान से बाहर है. Now there are two reasons why Renacon in the first half of the year has not delivered the kind of revenues that it should have done. उसकी एक वजह है कि February 2025 में Renacon moved to a new production facility. So they had a production facility in Lahore. They moved to a production facility in Faisalabad. When you move to this new production facility, आपके जितने भी international licenses और certifications होते हैं आपको एक दफा फिर से लेने पड़ते. And unfortunately, you know, that takes several months. हमें लगता है कभी-कभी ये जो ग्लोबल बॉडीज हैं बड़ा तेज काम करती हैं और पाकिस्तान में ये काम होता है, ऐसा नहीं है, वो भी अपना टाइम लेती है. So it's taken a significant amount of time to get those certifications refreshed with the new attendant. The second is our one of the South Asian markets is our big customer. उनका जो टेंडर होता है वो इस दफा डिले हो गया, तो वो अब तक अवार्ड नहीं हुआ. नॉर्मली वो जुलाई में अवार्ड हो जाता था. राइट नाउ इन मार्च दैट टेंडर इज येट टू बी अवार्ड, and that is also contributing to this. In addition to that, this year the government tenders in Pakistan have also suffered delays. तो जनरली अगेन पाकिस्तान में जो टेंडर्स हैं वो अगस्त में अवार्ड हो जाते थे पिछले सालों में. इस साल जो ज्यादातर टेंडर अवार्ड हुए हैं वो नवंबर के इर्द गिर्द हुए हैं. So even the government business is a little bit behind, but it is only on a YTD basis. Our local sales are 4% behind our budget. It is our exports which are behind because obviously one of our big customers is Afghanistan. Afghanistan के border की closure की वजह से हमारे पास order in hand है, but we are unable to deliver that order until such time as the Afghan border reopens and we are able to deliver that product. And one of our other major export customers, उनका जो है वो other tender. So this is a timing issue. वो जो अफगानिस्तान का ऑर्डर है, ऑर्डर खुल जाएगा, ऑर्डर हमारे पास है, पेमेंट आएगी, हम डिलीवर कर देंगे. और दूसरा भी वी आर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट, हम पिछले कई सालों से वो टेंडर जीतते आए हैं, so क्वाइट कॉन्फिडेंट कि इस साल भी वी विल बी एबल टू विन दैट टेंडर एंड डिलीवर. उसके अलावा ऑल्सो इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू सॉर्ट ऑफ शेयर विद यू कि नए बिजनेस को डेवलप करने में रेनेकॉन में क्या हो रहा है. बिकॉज आपने अगर फैक्ट्री लगाई है और उसका की ग्रोथ एक्सपोर्ट से आनी, तो नए बिजनेस में क्या हो रहा है. सो we are actively in negotiations with a pipeline of something like $7 million worth of exports. Obviously, सारी की सारी materialize नहीं होंगी, कुछ हम जीतेंगे, कुछ कोई competitor ले जाएगा. But we are working with a very strong pipeline of prospects. In addition, we are also working with the Renecon team to diversify this business beyond tile. So while we are in a very advanced stage of due diligence on that project, अभी it would be a bit premature to share further details जब तक हम वो due diligence complete करके internal.
Yeah, talking about the licensing and certification for the new factory, can you confirm if all of those formalities are completed already, since you have stepped into another export market for $7 million contract that you just mentioned?
Those formalities are now completed. We have shared it with the existing customers as well as the new prospect customers. एक customer है जिन्होंने आना था हमारी plant visit करने, that's part of their evaluation process. Unfortunately, due to the flight disruptions and you know general security environment in this part of the world being a bit uncertain right now, उनकी visit delay हो गई है. But in terms of our certifications and our regulatory piece, now everything.
Perfect. So I think we have covered most of the questions which were either we received in advance or were put into the chat box. So thank you everyone for taking out your time. So before closing this session, Mansoor Saab, if any of the closing remarks that you want to make, any topic that we left, maybe you can bring that up for any your closing remarks. Yeah.
Your attention. Few months are very exciting for us as Treet, both in the personal care space as well as the battery space. So we're really looking forward to these two major product introductions that are going to happen in the coming months. और Genesis और Estella को जरूर try कीजिएगा और हमें बताइएगा आपका experience कैसा रहा. And look forward to further engagements like this. Thank you to Shankar and the top line team for arranging this for us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you everyone for taking out your time. With this, we are now moving towards the closing of the session. Thanks to the management of Treet as well for taking out your time and briefing all the participants regarding new product launches, your aspirations with regards to the pharma factory. All right, thank you. Good luck for the next year, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Recording